Well, there's certainly a lot of fear out there in the world right now with the pandemic. It's like everyone's looking for a safe place to go. Where can you go to feel safe right now? Well, there is a one-size-fits-all place that is the safe place to be. And we're going to talk about that today because it is the secret place of the Most High. It was the first Unity teaching I learned when I came into Unity, the secret place of the Most High. So today we're going to look at what is this secret place? Why is it a secret? Where is it? And what's so special about it? How do we get there? Well, the secret place of the Most High comes from the biblical story of Elijah and Jezebel. Now, when you hear the word Jezebel, you think of a bad woman. She's been cast as someone bad. But Jezebel was simply a priestess in the goddess religion, back when they had nature religions, and she was a priestess. And so Elijah, from his point of view, he was right and she was wrong, went and killed all her priests. Well, of course she was upset. Of course she was mad. And she was out to get Elijah for killing her priests. She must have been a formidable woman because she really scared Elijah. She reminds me of the old advertisement where the woman says, "It's not nice to fool with Mother Nature." Elijah was so afraid of her. How afraid was he? He was so afraid that he ran as far as he could run and as fast as he could run. He ran and hid. And his story in 1 Kings 19:4, it really gets to be funny. He was so afraid of her that he actually prayed to die. He said, "Oh God, take me now. It's too much. I might as well be dead." Can you imagine what a formidable woman Jezebel must have been to have scared the great and honorable Elijah in this way? Well, Elijah hid out in a cave, waiting in this cave for God to speak to him, to tell him what to do so he could feel safe again, like we all want to feel safe right now. And he kept thinking he was going to hear God's booming words in some great way, because all of a sudden a storm came up, and he was sure he was going to hear God's words through the storm, but he didn't hear anything. And then the strong winds came, and he was just sure he was going to hear the voice of God in that strong wind, but he heard nothing. And then the earthquake came, and he was just sure God was going to be in the earthquake, but he didn't hear a thing. And then there was fire, and he was sure that his voice would then be in the fire, but he didn't hear a thing then either. And finally there was complete silence, complete stillness, and he was able to hear the voice of God within himself. Now, the message that God gave him on that day isn't relevant for us today. That's the thing with those revelations that we all get within us, those inner promptings. They're secret because they're just for us. They would be meaningless to anyone else. Has anyone ever come up to you and said, "God told me to tell you"? And you can tell it's their ego saying it, not really the divine. Because the divine speaks quietly and softly in and through each of us. Not in audible words necessarily, although that can happen, but those inner promptings that Spirit is urging you toward. Now, why do they call it a secret? Even Jesus said, when you pray, go home and close the door in secret. And that's because the secret place of the Most High is that point of awareness in you, which is away from the outer world, away from all the outer voices. And it's just for you. And only you can reach it. No one else can do it for you. You can't buy it. You can't pay for it, learn it, teach it. You only find it deep within you in that secret place of the Most High. Lessons in Truth, which was one of the first books I read when I came into Unity by H. Emily Cady, talks about this. As she said, it's a secret place because it's a place of meeting between the Christ at the center of your being and your consciousness. A hidden place into which no outside person can induct you or enter himself. And the revelation that I receive is not revealed to you or yours to me, but each one must hear and receive that individually, directly. So how do you find this secret place of the Most High where we finally feel safe and have those revelations from the divine? Well, first we must shut out the noise of the outer world and become quiet and still those thoughts that are going on in our mind. That's where most of the noise is it not? Those constant thoughts that are distracting us. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. And find that point of awareness where you really know your union with the divine. H. Emily Cady went on to say, the secret place of the Most High, where each one of us may dwell and be safe from all harm or fear of evil, is the point of mystical union between man and spirit, where we no longer believe, but know, where we know that God in Christ abides always at my center of my being as perfect health, prosperity, power, ready to come forth into manifestation at any moment that we claim it. That silence, that quiet, is a place of peace and comfort, but it's also a place of power. Some of you remember Phil and Dorothy Pearson. They were a minister couple, and I believe it was Monterey, California, many years ago. And they talked once about going to the Columbia River Dam, which is on the border of Oregon and Washington. And it's a powerful dam. And Dorothy said she was standing there just feeling the power coming off of this dam. And she talked to one of the workers there, and she said, look at that power. And the workers said, oh no, the power is on the silent side. That's where the power is harnessed. You're only seeing and hearing it here, but the real power is on the silent side. And I'll never forget that story because it's so much the same with us. When we silence those outer voices, when we silence the voices in our mind that keep bringing the fear and distraction, we know our union with the divine, and we have access to whatever we need to be guided into that safety, into that knowing what to do and what to say in any moment. And that healing power then can come forth. It's like the story of the woman who touched the hem of the garment. She was a woman who had been bleeding for years and no doctor could help her. She went to one doctor after another. Nothing helped her. And then she heard about Jesus one day. And she said, if I could just go where he is, and he wouldn't even have to do anything, all I would have to do is touch the hem of his garment, and I'll be healed. What faith she had. And so she did that, and Jesus immediately felt the healing energy flow out of him into this woman. And he said, who was that touched me? And she was healed in that moment. Now, it's a great metaphysical story because the woman is us. And the blood means the life force that we lose through the challenges of life when we get worn out and tired. And the physicians are all those worldly solutions that we go to out there for help. And none of them are ever totally lasting. They may help for a time, but then it starts up again. But when you go to the Christ of your being, that point of awareness, of knowing your union with the divine, by whatever name you call that presence. If you can just touch that for a second, that healing flows through you. That point of awareness that we call the Christ consciousness. Now, I'm not saying don't go to doctors. We're not like Christian Science, where they don't believe in going to doctors. We feel in unity. If you're sick, you need to go to a doctor, unless your consciousness is so evolved that in every moment you live from that place of knowing your union with the divine. Unless you're there, you definitely need to go to a doctor. But the more and more that we practice going into the silence, the more we become more confident in living a total life from that place, that point of awareness. The great mystic and healer, the great American mystic and healer, Joel Goldsmith, who lived long ago and wrote many books, The Infinite Way, and 30-some other books along with it, lived his whole life practicing the presence and the silence. He even poo-hooed metaphysics. He said, you don't need that, just go into the silence. It's a one-size-fits-all, no matter what your problem is. And he would take that guidance whenever he would go into the silence. One day, he was meditating, and he got the inner prompting that he should fly to Chicago. So he got on a plane and flew to Chicago. Didn't have a clue why he was going to Chicago. But he got there, and somebody at the airport recognized him and invited him to speak there. He lived his total life trusting the divine revelations that come from that point of awareness of union with the divine. And he once said, there is not God and you, but that God is ever manifest as you. And this is the oneness which assures you of infinite good. There is no God and you, but you are the expression of the divine. And when you can experience that, everything becomes accomplished. Now, Scripture says the same thing in Psalm 91. It too talks about you who dwell in the secret place of the Most High. And I call it, you fall under the 5 P's. Now, what are the 5 P's? To me, when I'm in that dwelling, when I'm able to go there, I fall under these 5. I'm protected, provided for, prospered, prepared for anything, and peppier. I have more energy. So to me, the 5 P's are you're protected, provided for, prospered, prepared for anything, and peppier. All that comes through in the secret place of the Most High. So right now, during this pandemic, if you're afraid, go to your secret place of the Most High and listen to that still small voice in the quiet, giving you that inner prompting, that inner comfort, that inner peace, that everything's going to be all right because you live from that point of awareness of your union with God. Psalm 91 is so powerful that through war after war in this world, many soldiers have carried that psalm with them during battle. And it's because the psalm goes like this. You who dwell in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shelter of the Almighty. I will say, God is my refuge and my fortress. In God I will place my trust. You will not be afraid of the terror by night, or the arrow that flies by day. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come to you. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. They will bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Today at 1 p.m., join us on Zoom at our gathering to discuss how you have put this into practice in your life and what that secret place of the Most High means to you. If you would like to get your Zoom invitation, send us your email so that we can put you on our newsletter email list, and you will have access to those Zoom gatherings every Sunday. Meanwhile, it's a time during our service where we have our love offering, and we thank all of you who continue to support Unity Church of the Cumberlands during this time of quarantine. If you would like to donate, simply go on our website, type in unitycookeville.org and click on the donate button. Or you can mail your check to 823 East 10th Street, Cookeville, Tennessee, 38501. But now let us bless our offerings together with the prayer we say each Sunday. If you're at home, pray this along with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. And I'm so grateful for you for listening today. Join us again next week as we stream live on Sunday mornings at 11 through Facebook. We will also have a recording on YouTube. If you type in Ann Marie Beale, it will take you to that recording. Meanwhile, let's close with our prayer for protection, also called the prayer of enfoldment, together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And we live from that point of awareness of our union with the divine. Thank you.